that he himself is saying that the person should be pleased, that the best thing that any sheikh can have is good students. Students who question him. Because out of questioning the teacher, there's many fawaid, there's many benefits. One, you begin to revise the knowledge that you've learned, you teach the knowledge that you've learned, and you go and search for other things which the students are asking you. As for this day and age that we find, that the culture that we find is, you're only sabi, you're only a young person, you don't understand. These are the words that Shaykh Uthaymeen rahmatullah alayhi used himself on this tape. He said that this is unacceptable, this is not really a scholar. If he's questioned by his students and they're encouraging him to go and search more and understand more and comprehend more, maybe something may have slipped his mind and someone reminds him of a hadith, So this is something good. This is the way the alim is, because all of us are insan. All of us forget things and should be reminded by others. And likewise we find كُلُّ مَا زِدْتُ عِلْمًا زِدْتُ جَهْلًا. The more I increase in knowledge, I increase in my own ignorance. That is what knowledge should do to an individual. Every time you reflect, you think that subhanallah, I don't really know anything. I don't understand anything. And yet we claim to be understanding so much of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise we find man arafa nafsahu arafa rabbahu. Some people say this is a hadith, but this is mawdu. There's no essence to this, as Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah mentioned. But we find that the statement is true. Whoever knows himself knows his Lord. Meaning that you know that you are weak, you are nothing. And you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is alim. He's the one who has all knowledge. And then we find, and finally, al-ajr mustamir. Forever reward will be given to you. That this is sadaqah jariyah. A sadaqah which will carry on for a person. That you leave some knowledge behind that people benefit from. Whether it be writings, whether it be lectures, whether it be anything. A form of knowledge which will benefit the people after you die. This is one thing that will benefit you forever in your life. So we find that in conclusion, that all of us need to return back to seek knowledge of aqeedah, knowledge of belief, knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Irrespective of what anybody says, that it's not important, tawheed is not important. This is the beginning. If you understand that the purpose of tawheed is to bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it will benefit you a lot in your life. That every time you're about to indulge in something haram, that you will always think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sami'un basir. He is watching you and hearing you. And when you reflect that He knows everything, and He can see you at all stages. He knows kha'inatul a'yun wa ma tukhfi as-sudur. He knows what the eyes are trying to conceal and what the heart is trying to conceal. He knows all of that. Then of course tawheed will benefit you in your life wherever you are. It is forever with you inside your heart. And that is the real understanding of tawheed and aqeedah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise, basic fiqh, the way that we pray, what breaks our prayer, what breaks our wudu, how do we perform ghusl, how do we perform wudu, all of these mundane affairs. How do we wash a dead body? If one of the brothers amongst us is to die, may Allah forbid, or is something destined for all of us, how would we wash this individual? How do we perform the salatul janazah? How do we do all these things? And yet we find in this zeal for Islamic knowledge that many of us are left in a state of hayran, not knowing what to do, looking at one another, what should we do? And after so many years of seeking knowledge, what have we created? Have we created people who are ulama? Have we created people who are imma? And these people are forever creating their people. Whether they're ignorant or whether they're misguided is a different point or different argument. But they have created their society, created their people. That person can stand and lead people in prayer. People can stand up and tell them how to perform Jummah al-Khutbah, how to perform the Eid prayer, how to do this, how to do that. And yet we are forever still in even basics, we fail to comprehend them and understand them. And so we should go back and try our best, all of us, including myself, to understand any basic worship and concept, how to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how to offer our prayers, how to fast, how to give charity. And these are the affairs that will benefit us now. Rather than many times that the debates that we get ourselves involved into, which will not benefit us. These are the things that will benefit you right now, all of us, how to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And likewise we find the second nasiha is Al-Quran, is to concentrate on the Quran. Al-Quranu hujjatun laka aw alayk, is an evidence for you or against you. And at the moment, including myself, the Quran is an evidence against us. It is not a hujjah lana. It is not an evidence for us. So we have to go back to the essence of reading the Quran, studying the Quran, memorizing the Quran, and obviously implementing the Quran to the best of our ability. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make these words in our mizan of hasanat the day that we meet Him, إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ, except for whoever meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a pure heart. And make all of those who are listening to these words to try their best to implement these words to the best of their ability. الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ وَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ, those people who hear the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and implement it to the best of their ability. Anything khair or good I've said is from the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything wrong or incorrect is from our own self and from shaitan. وجزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.